Hello, I'm Aubrey Shepherd, and you may have run into me in a restaurant or someplace around town, just on the street, walking by my house, but I may have asked you to sign this petition. Well, close to 1,000 people have signed it. I don't know, we may be over 1,000 because different people are passing them around. I certainly haven't done even half those. Other people have. But this petition says, we, the undersigned, are requesting the Town Branch neighborhood be rezoned to neighborhood conservation, including the land known as the sale barn property. And we feel that this neighborhood deserves the same consideration as Walker Park and Fayette Junction. And also, this petition mentions the National Cemetery. And the National Cemetery is right in the middle of our neighborhood. And if the sale barn goes for student housing, those buildings from that student housing complex will be overhanging almost, overshadowing the National Cemetery. So let's see some of the pictures of activities from this week, and maybe you won't have to sign this petition yet. Here's a meeting of veterans. I'm at the end of the line there, and next to me is Jim Buckner, and then there's Congressman John Bozeman, the tall man, and a couple of other veterans there. And we were talking to him about providing or getting some federal funding to buy the sale barn property if we're able to succeed in stopping the rezoning of the sale barn property to allow student apartments. If that goes through, I hope it hasn't already gone through by the time you see this, but if it does go through at either the meeting on the 7th or the 21st, then the apartment buildings would really be overwhelming to the National Cemetery. So these guys are working very hard with the congressman to get some funding, probably an earmark on some bill that goes through Congress in the next few months. Well, here's some people working for some other things with a different politician. They were out at the airport on Thursday, what was that, the 1st or 2nd of July, and they were lobbying Senator Blanche Lincoln. She came in on an airplane to spend a day in Northwest Arkansas meeting with a lot of her constituents and public officials about projects and so forth. And you see these folks are lobbying for different things. For instance, they want pay equity. Well, there's a man who's wearing a sign on his left side of his shirt that says, Jesus was a low-wage worker. And we remember how Jesus fed the masses and broke bread, but they don't say much about beans and tortillas. So it does make a good point about the importance of seeing that everyone has a fair share, a decent wage in our society. There's Bonnie Cook talking with Mayor Lioneld Jordan while waiting for Senator Lincoln to come to town. And there's Mayor Jordan with some other friends at the airport. So he was being approached and visited with by many people, and he approached everybody else and gave them a kind word and a handshake. He doesn't go around promising things. I'd hate for him to have to promise as much as those congressmen and senators have to promise. But after a while, Senator Lincoln did show up, and after she'd been interviewed on all those topics or lobbied by all those different groups of people, I did get just a minute or so with her, and there she is talking with Channel 5, and she agreed that we would have the chance, thanks to her, to possibly get some federal funding for the National Cemetery if we can stop that apartment complex from going in there. I just haven't met people who thought that it was appropriate to have student apartments next to the National Cemetery. Obviously, the older people, the veterans, they're the ones who I have the most signatures from, probably on the petitions, and people who live in our neighborhood or live in that neighborhood, part of our neighborhood closest to the National Cemetery and the sale barn. But honestly, I've talked to young students, and some of them live in the neighborhood and they rent single-family homes because that's where they like to be. and married couples and one or two people share those houses, maybe three or four in some cases, but they like having a yard and the beauty of things around. There's Mayor Jordan shaking hands with Senator Blanche Lincoln, and Lionel and she went off to talk at the end for a few minutes with the airport manager, Ray Boudreaux. You can see there just past Lionel, and he had some airport projects that are going to get some federal funding. So we're really counting on Blanche Lincoln and John Bozeman to help get some money in within a year, I hope, and be able to buy the sale barn outright and make it part of the National Cemetery eventually. They don't need the space this year, but if it goes to student apartments, it'll never again be available to the veterans. Another thing I wanted to mention, the pictures of that will come up in a minute, but let's talk about a project that the Partners for Better Housing is planning right now. They met today, and this being Monday, the 6th of July, and this will broadcast next week. So when I say today, forgive me, it's the 6th, but as we record this. But they were able to purchase, signed a contract to purchase for $250,000, several acres of land, 7 or 8 acres of land, over in the area east of Walker Park. And it appears that it's a pretty well worked out deal. I'm not sure the land's going to be developable for as many houses and apartments as they hope to get, because there's a lot of wet land there and it's the overflow area of a stream. But the truth is that they did get it at a fair price compared to what land's going for in many parts of town, and they finished the deal today. So they're pretty happy about that, and let's hope that everything works out and they don't have to spend too many millions on infrastructure to get that project built over there. Until next time, this is Aubrey Shepherd asking you to do your part to help keep the water clean, the air pure, and the woods green. See ya.